Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We are headed into week 16 of the 2024 NFL season. Once again, I am Smokey and Alex is not here. You can probably guess why. Yes, the 49ers took a horrible loss to the Rams last Thursday night in one of the ugliest games anyone's ever seen. At least the Falcons got the win. Not that they did too much better than the 49ers overall, but they got the win because they were facing a horrible team. But that's the reason Alex is not here. I am here. We're going to get through this. Alex should be back next week. We'll see if the 49ers get a win or not, and that will let us know if he's going to be here. But until then, let's jump right into this slate of games. Actually, I tell a lie. First thing we're going to do is recap our picks from last week. And I'm not making any ground here. I'm not losing any, but I'm not making any. These past few weeks have been kind of a stalemate here. We need to get something rolling, or I do at least. I'm sure Alex wants to hang on to his lead. I want to make up these points, and I need to start getting some. But last week we disagreed on 4 games. That would be the Cowboys and the Panthers. Alex had the Cowboys. The Dolphins and the Texans. I had the Dolphins. The Bills and the Lions. I had the Bills. And the Packers and the Seahawks. Alex had the Packers. That gave us both 12 each, which is a pretty good number for a 16-game slate. Doing very well. Bringing the total on the season. 161 for me, 165 for Alex. I really have to catch up. I'm going to do it right here, starting today. Game number 1 on Thursday night. We got the Broncos headed down to LA to face the Chargers. The Broncos are absolutely on fire. You know what? I listened back to last week and I told myself I'm going to not say absolutely so much. It is my favorite word. I use it all the time if you listen to my YouTube channel, which this is also a YouTube channel, but my music channel with Hollywood, which is the Trash Talkers, I say absolutely a lot, and I use it way too much. I'm going to try to cut down right here and not say it so much. The Broncos are very well off. They are doing really good. I mean, this team is on fire. They have the momentum behind them. The Chargers have been kind of up and down the past few weeks. They were on fire earlier in the season, and then they get mollywopped at home by the Buccaneers. I know the Buccaneers can be great at times, and Baker Mayfield can be great at times. The hero ball boy. But you got thumped. You got your tater thumped pretty bad by the Buccaneers, and I think that took a little bit of momentum away. And with Justin Herbert's injury, I think that's playing a factor here. I think that's part of it. So I don't feel good about the Chargers at all. I do feel good about the Broncos. Bo Nix is legit, and he's making a run for that Rookie of the Year title. Probably sealing it up with this one. I think if he wins this one once again in spectacular fashion, then I think he's got that crown. I think Jaden Daniels will be, I mean, it's a close race right now, but Bo Nix has, I'm not going to say absolutely. Well, I just did. Bo Nix has performed better than Jaden Daniels over the past few weeks, and the recency bias is going to give it to whoever is performing at the end of the season. It's Bo Nix's title to win, as long as he continues on the path he's on right now. The Broncos will take this one on the road. Sorry about that, Chargers. I thought this was finally going to be your year. You might still make the playoffs. There's a possibility, but it's not looking good at this moment. We'll see how it goes. Alex agrees with me. He is also taking the Broncos. Now, let's see how many disagreements we can get here. The Texans and the Chiefs. This will be an interesting game. The Texans are coming off of a win. The Chiefs are coming off of a win. But once again, quarterback injury is going to play a part here. Carson Wentz had to take over that game because of the ankle injury to Patrick Mahomes. Is Patrick going to sit out? From what I'm hearing right now, there's a real possibility that Patrick Mahomes could sit 1 to 2 games. They need him rested up for the playoffs, and he wasn't playing that great to begin with. It hasn't been all season, but the Chiefs always find a way to win. I don't think they can do that with Carson Wentz. The Texans are not setting the world on fire by any means, but like I said last week, C.J. Stroud is a good game manager, and the team is good enough to pull out wins over a beaten and battered team. It is the Chiefs, but they are beat up, and they are not as good as they have been recently. I might regret this because Alex is actually picking the Chiefs. I am going with the road team. I will be taking the Texans and the Fighting CJ Strouds to go down there and take one from the Chiefs. Let's get it done, Texans. That's our first disagreement. Let's go on to the Steelers and the Ravens, a matchup as old as time. Man, this is a division rivalry that has a lot of bad blood. Yes, I know the Ravens have only been in Baltimore 20-something years, whatever it's been. Well, it was about 24 years, right? I think the Browns left and went out to Baltimore in, what was it, 99? Whatever it was, but this has been a bitter rivalry ever since they arrived. And the Browns reset with a brand new team there in Cleveland. Lamar Jackson is in the running for the MVP. He is obviously over the past 3 years, and you can actually say since the beginning of his time in the NFL, he has been one of the best quarterbacks. He is deadly accurate now. That was one of his criticisms when he first got to the league. Oh, he's a running quarterback. He's this Michael Vick guy. Okay, so maybe he's got a little bit of an arm, but he's not going to be a passer because he's a running quarterback. But Lamar Jackson has developed into a passing quarterback, and he is dang good at it. He is legit as a passer and a runner. That's what makes him so deadly. He can do it both. He's the best of both worlds. Steelers are struggling just a little bit. That dominant defense is falling apart. TJ Watt is all beat up. Has been off and on for the season now. And I don't feel great about the Steelers having to go to Baltimore here. I want to say that they can pull it out because I do like the Steelers. It's one of my favorite teams. Ravens never have been, but then again, Lamar Jackson has been one of my favorite quarterbacks ever since he got to the league. I have made lots of cash because of Lamar Jackson, so kind of one of my favorite quarterbacks here. I don't know who to root for. I like the Steelers as a team. I like Lamar Jackson as a player. I also like Mark Andrews. And guy coming out of college, I kind of hated the Oklahoma Sooners. I watched the Bulldogs put one over in the Rose Bowl of 2017 over Mark Andrews and Baker Mayfield in that what was it, like 3 overtimes? Very exciting Rose Bowl that season. And the Bulldogs went on to the national championships to face Alabama. But regardless of all that, the Louisville product, Lamar Jackson, is a great quarterback, and Mark Andrews is a great tight end, and they have other pieces on the team that can get it done. Derrick Henry is not living up to the billing at this moment, but we know how good he is and how he tends to turn it on at the end of the season. Alex is going with the Steelers here. I'm going to go the opposite. I'm sorry, the Steelers they're not on fire like they were in the middle of the season. They seem to be cooling off a little bit. We'll see if they can get it back together. But as for right now, I'm picking the Ravens. Alex will be picking the Steelers. There's our second disagreement. The Giants and the Falcons. Oh my Lord, this is the Tank Bowl. Yes, I know the Falcons are 7-7. They are horrid. They are ugly to watch. Man, I'm glad we're facing easy teams right now because the Falcons suck. That's my team. I guess I can say that, right? I mean, I'm sure there's some fans, if there's any Falcons fans listening to this, you might take exception to that, but the Falcons suck. That's my team. I've supported them my whole life, and they're bad. They've been bad. They've been bad ever since 2018. Maybe even 2017, we had a decent season. 2018, they got bad. The whole deal with Matt Ryan leaving and Desmond Ridder for a couple seasons. Now we got Kirk Cousins, and it's not any better. This is a 500 or less team every single season since 2018. Yeah. Well, we'll see if they can pull something together here. They should. It's the Giants, after all. Malik Neighbors is legit. He is wonderful, man. I told you, coming out of LSU. LSU pumps out 2 receivers every single year, it seems. I understand. I know it's not every single year, but it is a lot that they will put 2 receivers at a time into the league. Either way, Falcons should win this. Alex agrees. This should be an easy test at home for the Falcons. And if you lose this one, there is no hope left for the Falcons at all. I still think it's a tank bowl at this point. We're not winning the division, that's for sure. The Bucks are out there. Hero Ball boy is going to win this. Let's move on to the Cardinals and the Panthers. Hey, division rivals here of the Falcons. Cardinals, speaking of hot and cold teams, the Cardinals are coming off of a big win over the Pats, but they have been up and down this entire season. Just when you think they can't put an offense together to save their life, they come back and put a 30-burger on a team like the Patriots. Now, if you face stiffer competition, probably not going to happen because they are right around a 500 team, in my opinion, and they'll probably finish the season either one over or one under 500, somewhere in there. But this is the Panthers. Bryce Young came back down to earth this past game. It's not that the Panthers had gotten better. I just think it was Bryce Young playing his heart out, trying to save his job, trying to have that starting job, and it all fell apart this past week. But like I said, the Cardinals got the win, so I'm assuming overall the Cardinals are much better. I don't even think the Panthers want to win. You want a high draft pick. Maybe not for a quarterback now. We got to see how that plays out. Bryce Young may have saved his job. I don't know, though. You're going to need some pieces around him if you're going to hang on to Bryce Young, or else he's going to be a backup somewhere next season. He's definitely not out of the league. He's playing too well right now to not have a job next season. But here we are. The Cardinals are better than the Panthers, taking the Cardinals on the road, and so is Alex. The Lions and the Bears. Here's a divisional matchup for you. The Lions are coming off that tough loss to the Bills. That was a shootout. I called that. That was Super Bowl Junior last week. I think we may have a rematch of that in the Super Bowl. And it played out kind of like that. Yeah, the Bills led the entire game. But this game was actually close. The Lions were making a comeback right there at the end. Just couldn't quite muster up enough. They let it get too far away. Couldn't quite catch it in the end. Either way, a good game. Two extremely potent offenses going at it. And the Lions got the bitter end of that one. But here, it's the Bears. The Bears absolutely blew on Monday night. The Vikings ate their lunch and they could do anything about it. Couple of bright spots. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. Other than that, I don't have a lot of faith in this team. I think Cole Kmet's a decent tight end, but he's not getting fed, so it really doesn't matter. Williams is taking those shots downfield because he wants to catch up in these games, and not going to be throwing a lot over the middle to Cole Kmet. They're going to be losing this one also. The Lions are so much better. Alex agrees with that. How could you not? The Lions are going to mollywop the Bears here. Titans and the Colts. Now, this is a tough one. On paper, these two teams have a little bit of separation. You would say that the Colts are better, but I don't really believe that. I don't think they're that much better than the Titans. We've seen the Titans get just a few upset wins this season. Will Levis has been benched. I don't think he's coming back this week. I seriously doubt it. He may, but I don't think he will. I don't think we're going to see Will Levis out there. But overall, yeah, the Colts are just a tad better than the Titans. This could be a close game, though. Since it's in Indianapolis, I'm going with the Colts. So is Alex. It is what it is. Not a game that's going to draw a bunch of interest. The Rams and the Jets. Here's another game that probably doesn't draw much interest, but I think it's going to be a good game. The Rams are coming off of that win over the 49ers. The Rams are playing to their opponents, in my opinion. It seems like if their opponents are going to put up 50 points, they're going to put up 50 points. If their opponents are going to put up 6 points, then they're going to put up somewhere around 6 points. That was a 12-6 victory on Thursday night there. Weird how they're playing, but we know that Matthew Stafford has the ability to go off at any given time, and he has two exceptional wide receivers that can go out there and catch the ball for him, and they have a decent running back. So I think this will be kind of a close one overall. The Jets got their win that they've been searching for many weeks. They look like the Jets were supposed to look. Devontae Adams had a huge game. I don't think that it means that the Jets are just going to win out for the rest of the season, because I think overall there's so much dysfunction in that organization that it's probably going to be a Jekyll and Hyde situation, just like a lot of the other teams we've talked about so far. Even though it's in New York, I'm going to pick the Rams. I'm going to put it all on the back of Matthew Stafford to go out there and show up his elder by a couple of years in Aaron Rodgers. And Alex agrees with that. We're both taking the Rams on the road. The Eagles and the Commanders. I guess the Eagles are more legit than I thought they were. They've gotten some surprising wins, and their record is stellar at this point. Maybe they are improving week to week. I know I said last week that they are getting better, that I think I maybe am mistaken about them, because they really struggled for quite a few games and barely eked out wins, but now it seems like this team is getting better. They're kind of peaking at the right time. I know the passing game is not what a lot of the players want it to be, but the run game is on point. There is a problem, though. Speaking of the run game, Saquon Barkley is injured and likely out for the season, from what I heard. That is a tick in the favor of the Commanders, but the Commanders have struggled a little bit also recently. And I think the Eagles are just a little too heavy-footed for the Commanders. I think they're going to go out there and step on the Commanders. Yeah, it could be a good game. It really could be. But overall, this game just favors the Eagles. The momentum is there. Yep, taking the Eagles on the road. So is Alex. Next up, we have the Browns and the Bengals. The Bengals have a really potent offense, and they score about 30 or more points every single week. The problem is they give up a lot of points also. They give up almost as much as they score, but they have the muscle to just muscle through a lot of games. It's been a struggle all season because of that defense, but the offense is absolutely there. Oh my God, I said it again. The offense is there for them. And it's hard to bet against them, against the team that's probably starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson, unless they plan to go back to Jameis Winston. I can't speak tonight. There is an issue here. But anyway, I don't think it matters if it's Jameis. Jameis is going to throw a couple interceptions if he is out there. Dorian Thompson-Robinson likely will too, but he doesn't have the arm ability that Jameis Winston does. I think the Browns are probably looking for a high pick at this point. Nick Chubb's out for the season. This team's spiraling to toilet bowl. It is the factory of sadness after all. Easily taking the Bengals at home. So is Alex. No disagreement there. The Vikings and the Seahawks. The Vikings are coming off that big win on Monday night over the Bears. The Seahawks are coming off of a tough loss at home. The 12th man didn't get it done like I expected it to. The Packers rolled right over them. And I don't feel good about this one now. I felt good last week. It didn't happen, so I don't feel good now. The Vikings are on fire. They're doing great work. That lull in the middle of the season, like I spoke of last week, was a real thing, and now they're back on top. Sam Darnold is back marginally in the running for the MVP, but we all know Josh Allen almost has it wrapped up at this point. But yeah, this one should be another good one for the Vikings. The Vikings get another win here. There's going to be the haves and the have-nots at the end of the season, because there's quite a few teams that have very few losses and quite a few teams that have very few wins. Not so much the parity scene that we're used to seeing over the past few years. Vikings are running away with it. Vikings take this one on the road fairly easily. Of course, Alex agrees with that. On to the Pats and the Bills. Patriots are coming off a tough loss also. Drake May is very up and down, but he is a rookie. He'll figure it out. This team will get better in the future. Not so good for this season, especially at a game against the Bills, who are on fire. Maybe I should slow down on saying on fire. Either way, the Bills are really good. The Patriots are trying to find their way. Yeah, easily the Bills at home. Probably by 20 to 30 points or so. Alex agrees with that. How could you not? The Jaguars and the Raiders. Here's a good tank bowl for you. Mac Jones, a couple of weeks ago, I told him to go out there and show the world why you were a first-round pick. That you don't have to be sitting behind someone. That you could start again. he's gotten a little better. And maybe it took a little time to warm up. They got the win this past week, and Mac Jones looked fairly decent doing it. Not a bad showing for Mac Jones. Don't know that he's going to win a starting spot, but he is capable at times. I mean, remember his rookie season. He was in the running for Rookie of the Year that season. All fell apart after that. Man, he went down in the dirt in the next few seasons, but at first he was decent, so he can have these hot streaks here. Is it going to help him in this game against the Raiders? It should, because the Raiders are way worse, and that's saying something. When you can say you're way worse than the Jaguars are right now, that's saying a lot. The Raiders took that horrible-looking loss to the Falcons on Monday night, and the Falcons aren't good. I'll tell you right now, the Falcons are playing horrible. Man, it's going to be all draft season for the Raiders from this point on. You don't have much to play for anyway. Jaguars, Mac Jones wants to play for a job. So, that's what we're going for here. Jaguars on the road. I got the Jaguars taking this one. So does Alex. Should go that way. This is an interesting one. The boss versus the student. The teacher versus the student. That's probably a better line. I'm going to say the teacher versus the student. The 49ers, I don't know what to make of them anymore. Sometimes they come out and they look like, oh yeah, that's the 49ers of old. That's the team we trust in. That's the team that goes to Super Bowls. And then sometimes they look like they forgot how to play. Like they forgot what they were doing out there on the field. I don't understand why this team can be so up and down. This looks like Shanahan's, second season or whenever Garoppolo got hurt, whenever he had that bad run there. It's kind of looking like that. The Dolphins are coming off that loss, which I don't know if they're mathematically eliminated at this point in time, but it's got to be discouraging, that the playoffs are getting farther and farther away. You're going to have to either stomp on the gas now. If you're not already eliminated, I would have to look at the numbers, but if you're not already eliminated, you're going to have to step on the gas right now. McDonald is going to have to take on Shanahan. Tooth and nail, they're going to have to slug it out, and the Dolphins are going to have to win. They're going to have to win out if there is still a possibility. I don't know that the 49ers want it. I mean, Brock Purdy's playing good, but the Kittle's playing good. Debo is on the back of a milk carton. Isaac Guerendo is already injured, and he just took over the starting job when Christian McCaffrey went out. I don't know that this team has a running back left. Where's Jordan Mason? We're going to have to bring somebody in from the XFL or something. Which I know that Shanahan probably could take a running back from the... Mark Thompson, come on down. Shanahan can do that. He could take one of those guys and turn him into a star. They'll get work. I mean, they'll do decently, I'm sure. But it's tough for the 49ers right now. I think the Dolphins win this. They're in Miami, too. The 49ers are going on the road. It's going to be a warm weather game, but still. I don't know that the 49ers can win this game. I'm going with the Dolphins at home. Alex is going with the Dolphins also. I understand that. Not a lot of faith in them right now. The Bucks and the Cowboys. This game should be a shootout because Cooper Rush is not playing as badly as one would expect being the backup. Maybe playing just as good as Dak Prescott would have been in this position. Remember when Dak was in there, this team was not great. They were circling the toilet bowl with Dak. Cooper Rush, just like a few seasons ago, comes in and he can have good games here and there. That's why they kept him as the backup, because he's capable of doing that. He's capable of playing as good as Dak on certain occasions. So this should be a shootout, in my opinion. I think this will be a good game. But the Bucks just have too much firepower, and they have too much going for them right now. And Baker Mayfield is playing just a little too good at this point in time. The Cowboys are going to be at home in Dallas, but they're going to take a loss here. The Bucks are going to take this one. Alex is picking the Cowboys. He thinks they can get it done. And I understand that also, because they're playing well enough, playing better than people expected them to play. But I got to go with the Bucks. The Bucks are almost like the Bengals at this point. They can put up 40 points in a game if they want to. And they could do that on the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense is not stopping anyone. So there's my theory that this could be a shootout. But I'm taking the Bucks on the road. Alex is taking the Cowboys. There's the disagreement. We have 3 right now, coming down to the last game here, the Saints and the Packers. So obviously, we're going to be stuck at 3 disagreements because ain't nobody, especially under Spencer Rattler's magnificent quarterback skills, is anyone in the world going to pick the Saints in this game. Packers, a lot like the Texans, are just good enough. They're decent. They're not extremely good. They're not elite, but they are good. They are good enough. They're above average. Good enough to win a ton of games. Good enough to go to the playoffs. The Saints are not. Spencer Rattler is one of those guys that in certain situations where you expect him, the big things out of him, you expect him to excel. We need this when we really need this. That's when he blows it. But however, when you expect absolutely nothing and you give up on Spencer Rattler, that's when he comes out and does something phenomenal. He's one of those guys. Under pressure, can't do much of anything. When there is no pressure, he can actually wow you at times. He has great athletic ability. He has a cannon for an arm. It's just he doesn't have it all put together. Maybe he never will. Maybe he's an XFL guy one day. We'll see about that. Packers win this one easily at home. There's another win for the Packers. Alex agrees with that, of course. How can you not? Let's talk about the MVP race before we get out of here. Like I said several times, probably throughout this recording, Josh Allen is number 1. There's no doubt about it. I said last week that game was going to decide who is the favorite and who is in second place. That's what it's doing right now. Josh Allen is the favorite. He is playing phenomenally. Probably the best season he's had in his entire career thus far, which is saying something because he's been phenomenal for years at this point. Ever since his 3rd season in the league. His first 2 seasons, he showed flashes, but didn't quite all have it together. And then in that 3rd season, he came out and hit an MVP level of play, and he hasn't taken his foot off the gas ever since. That's why the Bills are perennially in the playoff contention at the end of the year, and Josh Allen's name gets thrown about in the MVP race every year. Hasn't won it yet, but if he plays just a few more games the way he's playing, he has this sewed up. Jared Goff is back. There's a little bit of distance back to Jared Goff at this point in time. Lamar Jackson is hanging out just behind that, and you can throw Sam Darnold's name back into the mix just after that. So we do have 4 at this time. I don't think Baker Mayfield needs to be mentioned at this point, but there is a very, very outside chance that something could happen to where Baker Mayfield's name gets thrown into the top 2, maybe 1. But I really, really doubt it at this point in time. It's all Josh Allen from here on out, unless something crazy happens. Well, that's it for this week, man. We really appreciate you guys joining us each and every week. It's just been me for the past 3 weeks solo. But like I said, Alex should be back next week. And we will go from there. You won't have to listen to just me rambling the word salad that I like to toss out for an entire 30 minutes each week. You'll get to hear an outside voice, which feels like an outside voice at this point in time. But anyway, I'm waffling already. Thank you for tuning in to the Scoreboard. Tell us what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We'll talk about football. The UFL season is coming up. We're going to talk about that right after the NFL season ends. And we usually do pretty good on that because there's not a ton of UFL content being passed around the YouTube waves these days. So if you're a football addict, just come on back in the spring and we'll talk about some UFL football. You gotta be an addict. Yeah, but you're listening right now, so you probably are. Alright, that's it for me. I am Smokey Rameriz for Alex. We'll see you next week. Deuces.